हरि ओम। ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री हिरण्यगर्भाय नमः। ओम श्री महाविष्णुवे नमः। ओम श्री महादेवाय नमः। ओम श्री महादुर्गाये नमः। ओम श्री राम रामाय नमः। ओम श्री सद्गुरवे नमः। ओम समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयम् नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। शङ्करं परमानन्दं ब्रह्मनिष्ठं यतीश्वरं भाष्यभ्रान्तिहरं वन्दे शुद्धज्ञानैकबोधकम्। ॐ नमः शिवाय। 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 नमः पार्वतीपतये। हर हर महादेव। हरि ओम। हरि ओम। We'll begin with the Shanti mantra. Om Apyayantu Mamangani Vak Pranaschakshushrotramatho Balamindriyani cha sarvani Sarvam Brahma Upanishadam Maham Brahma Nirakuryam Ma Brahma Nirakarot Nirakaranamasva Nirakaranam me astu तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्माः ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरि ओम। We have already seen in detail this chapter of Chandogya Upanishad, the 7th chapter. Before that, we studied chapter 6, and today we will just summarize what we have studied in this chapter. So, in chapter 6, the Supreme Brahma was revealed to Shvetaketu through the Mahavakya Tattvamasi, the identity of that Brahma with the inner self was also pointed out. In the 6th chapter, the teacher had given the example of the pot and the clay to indicate the relationship between this world and Brahma. The world is like a pot and Brahma is like the clay. There is a Karya-Karana relationship between Brahma and this world. But it's a very interesting relationship. In the world, there is Brahma, but in Brahma, there is no world. In the world, we see some characteristics which are not in Brahma, in the absolute nature of Brahma. We see the world constantly changing, but Brahma doesn't change. We see the world as limited, made up of many parts, but Brahma doesn't have any parts. And in that Brahma, there are no characteristics of the world. So this is the Karya-Karana Sambandha, the relationship between cause and effect. So through the world, Brahma is pointed out as the cause, and after recognizing and understanding that Brahma, it is pointed out that that Brahma is our own inner self. So identity of the Brahma with the inner self is done through the Mahavakya Tattvamasi. So this world which we experience is an expression of that Brahma alone. So what are the various factors through which the world or this Brahma expresses as this world? That was not pointed out in the previous chapter. So in this 7th chapter, the various vikar, which is experienced as this world, is pointed out. Just as we see that many different items are made from clay, like pots and bricks and tiles, and all of them are clay only. Similarly, what are the various expressions of that Brahma, which is seen as this world, has to be pointed out. So that is pointed out in this 7th chapter, starting from Nama all the way to Prana, all these various expressions of Brahma. And that knowledge of Brahma is revealed through a dialogue between Naradji and his brother Sanat Kumarji. So the Shankaracharya ji writes in the beginning itself that through the process of Shakha Chandra Nyaya, that Brahma, which is indicated here as Bhuma, is revealed. What is Shaka Chandranyaya? Just as if you want to point out the moon in the sky to a person who is unable to see that moon directly, one points out the tree and then to the branches and to the leaves, and finally tell that person to look in between the leaves, and there he can see the shining crescent moon. In the same way, the teacher wants to point out that Brahma, which is very subtle, very sublime, so that is pointed out through the world. Starting from the gross Nama, the teacher takes us on this inner journey all the way to the subtlest prana. But then that prana is also not Brahma, in the sense prana is also expression of Brahma. So from that prana again, the teacher takes us on an inner journey and points out that Satyam Bhuma. So in a very beautiful process, that Bhuma is pointed out, and that is again revealed as our own inner self. So the teachings in all the Upanishads are the same. All Upanishads convey that our inner self is Brahma, which is big, which is infinite, which is the very cause of this world, which alone is expressing as this world. That Brahma alone is our own inner self. So this chapter begins with the story of Narada approaching his teacher, Sanat Kumar, his own brother, and he requests him that please teach me Adihi Bhagava iti hopa sasada Sanat Kumaram Narada. So please teach me. Means please teach me that, give me that self-knowledge. Please reveal myself to myself. So the teacher asked him that first you tell what you know already. Then I will tell you what is beyond that. First you tell me what are the things which you have learned. So the teacher has to first determine where exactly the student stands. And from that position, from that level, the teacher guides the student all the way to that supreme Brahma. So we have this many different types of scriptures. The Vedas are the Upanishads are there, the Puranas, the Itihas, all these various literatures are there. In all of them, the truth is revealed, but it's revealed in a different way depending on the student and their level. The teacher reveals this truth to them accordingly. So when Narada was asked, what do you know already? He gives a long list. Rig Vedam Bhagavo Adhyemi, Yajur Vedam, Sama Vedam, Atharvanam, Chaturtham, Itihasa Puranam, Panchamam, Vedanam Vedam, Pitryam, Rashim, Daivam, Nidim Vako Vakyam Ekayanam Deva Vidyam Brahma Vidyam Bhuta Vidyam Kshatra Vidyam Nakshatra Vidyam Sarvadeva Jana Vidyam Etad Bhagavo Adhyemi. He gives a very impressive list which includes all the four Vedas. It also includes the Itihas like Ramayana, Mahabharata, the Puranas, and the other Angas of the Vedas. Also the Tarka Shastra and Deva Vidya, Brahma Vidya, all the different branches of knowledge which are presented in all the different Shastra. All of them were learnt by Naradji. He was a very well educated, very well literate individual. So he had the knowledge of everything, Nakshatra Vidya, even about astrology, astronomy, about the snakes, Sarpadeva Jana Vidya. But then Naradji accepted that I have learned a lot, but all that I have learned is only mantra. So ham bhagavo mantravid eva asmi. I am only mantravid. I know only the literal meanings of all these terms. Means I know only the karya, the effects, but I have not recognized the cause. It is like somebody knowing different ornaments but not knowing gold, or someone knowing all the different items of clay but not knowing clay. Similarly, Naradji is saying that I know everything but I have not realized that Atma, I am not Atmavid. And I have heard that only by knowing that Atma one becomes free of all sorrow. Tarati Shokam Atmavid. And I have sorrow. So please teach me this Atma Vidya and take me across all sorrow. Shokasya param tarayitu iti tadam hovacha yadvai kincha etad adyagishtha nama eva etad. Please take me across all sorrow, all grief. Then the teacher told Naradji that what you know is name. You can say what you have understood, what you know is only name. This whole world which we experience is made up of variety of forms, having variety of activities. But the entire world is the expression of that Supreme Brahma alone. So all these forms can be just pointed out as just a form, and all that we know about this form is just a name, Nam. Just as we see an object and we know about that object, whatever we know about that object, which we can remember, which we can think, which we can communicate to others, are just words, just name, just expressions which can be conveyed to others also. So the entire world about which we gain knowledge, that knowledge we gain in terms of letters and words and sentences, and all of them can be grouped into one word, and that is Nam. Just as in Mandukya Upanishad, that Nam is indicated as Om, that this entire world is nothing but Om. Om. Om alone is everything. That Om is the Nam. Similarly, here the teacher tells Naradji, first you understand that all the variety of things which you have understood and have recognized, just know it as Nam. From the multiplicity, the teacher brings Naradji's mind to that one, to a single factor. Just like many different ornaments, and we know all the ornaments, but all the ornaments, bangles, necklace, earrings, all of them can be grouped into one name only as ornament. You can just say ornaments. Similarly, instead of saying the Vedas, astrology, astronomy, or different arts, sciences, one can say that everything is just name, Nam. So from Nama, the teacher will take Naradji all the way to that Brahma. So he says that all that you have learnt is Nam only. Nam alone is Rig Ved, Yajurved, Samaved, Atharvaved, and all the Itihas, Puran, and everything is nothing but Nam. Therefore, you first focus your attention on Nam itself, just a name, just one name itself. Therefore, the teacher says that first you do upasana on the Nam itself. Sayo Nama Brahma iti upaste. You meditate on Nam as Brahma. And one who meditates on Nama as Brahma, the teacher says that he attains free movement within the range of that Nam. See, even when we want to study some subject and all, the first thing we understand is the name of that subject. And then we study the details. Suppose a person goes to a college and studies for 4 or 5 years. Lots and lots of words he studies. Then somebody asked him that what have you studied for 5 years? You went to that college. Every day you were listening to the various lectures. What did you study? Now somebody asks, what did you study? He cannot just repeat all that he has learnt in 5 years. But he just uses one word. He says, I studied medicine. And once he says that I have studied medicine, all the hundreds and thousands of words which he has studied is understood. Similarly, when we say I have understood this world, or the understanding of this world can be summed up in one word, and that is the Naam, name. Therefore, our scriptures give so much importance to name, because through the name, we can recognize that Supreme who is named. Because that one Brahma alone is expressing as Rupa and as Nam. So through Rupa also we can know that Brahma, and through Nam also we can trace back and recognize that Brahma. In the previous chapter, through Rupa, that Brahma was indicated, that all that you see are the five elements, and these five elements they undergo various modifications like Panchikaranam, Trivrit But if you trace back these elements, you will reach the Ahankar Tattva, and further if you trace back, you reach the Mahat Tattva, and that you trace back, you reach the Avyakta, and that Avyakta, when you trace back to its source, that is Brahma. But same journey we can take by tracing back Nam, the name. So here the teacher is pointing out that path. So after telling Naradji to worship that Nam itself as Brahma, Naradji asked the teacher that is there anything subtler than Nam? Is there something superior to Nam, greater than Nam? And the teacher says yes. And he says, Vag Vava Namno Bhuyasi. Vak is greater than Nam. Name is great, but the name itself is uttered by speech. Without speech uttering that name, the name will not be born. See, if I see an object, but if I don't know what is the name of that object, I will never know until somebody utters with his speech and tells me that this is the object. And little children also, they keep asking, what is this, what is this? So we keep telling them the names of those objects. This is a cow, this is a dog, this is the mountain, these are the stars. Twinkle, twinkle, little stars. So Nama is uttered by speech. Therefore, speech is subtler than Nam. Speech is greater than Nam. So once you focus your attention on the Nama and understand everything as name only, the entire world is just converged into just one name. That name can be Om, that name can be Ram. So once you hold on to that name, then you go one step inner, one step deeper, and understand Vak as greater than Nam. That ability to express the Nam, which is there within us, that is greater than Nam. Therefore, even without uttering, that Nama is there within. it remains in our mind. Sometimes the name, we keep it in the mind, and then we utter it, and then only the other person knows. Otherwise, it remains unmanifest, hidden. So that vak is subtler than nam. So Narad ji was told that all this knowledge of all these various shastras we gain only through vak. So even Narad ji gained this knowledge when he approached the teacher and learned. So therefore vak, speech, is greater than nam. And the teacher told Narad ji, you meditate on speech itself as Brahma. Meditate on speech as Brahma. See, if we want to climb a tall mountain like Mount Everest, we just can't climb directly. We have to go step by step. We have to acclimatize ourselves. Then only we will be able to reach the top. Similarly, here the Brahma is like Mount Everest. We can't just climb and attain that. So we have to take small steps. So the first step is Nam. And when we progress, we gain abidance in this Nam. When we understand everything as Nam, when we understand Brahma as Nam, then we can go one step inner and understand that Brahma as Vak, as speech, as Vani, as Shabda, which is uttered. See, before even we speak, we utter the word in our mind. Therefore, the speech are also at different levels. Vaikari, Madhyama, Pashyanti, Para. So meditate on speech itself as Brahma. Immerse yourself into that speech as Brahma. And once we gain this firm abidance in speech as Brahma, we will be able to understand the range of speech. We will attain free movement in speech. Then Naradji asked the teacher, is there anything subtler, superior to speech? And then the teacher said, Manovava vacho bhuyaha. Mind is superior to speech. Because even before we utter that speech, it has to come in our mind. If it is not in the mind, we will not be able to speak. If we have to give a talk or a speech, before it comes on our tongue, it should come in our mind. If it is not in the mind, how can you utter it? So mind is superior, is subtler than speech. मनोवावपाचो भूयः यथा वै द्वे वामलके द्वे वा कोले द्वौ वाक्षौ मुष्टिः अनुभवति एवं वाचं च नाम च मनो अनुभवति. Just as we keep two small fruits in our fist, our palm, they remain within the fist. Similarly, this Nam and Vak are within our mind. In the mind, that speech is there, which has the name. So, mind is the cause of speech, and speech is the cause of Nama. Therefore, mind is subtler. So, meditate on mind as Brahma. Understand the subtlety of this mind. Manohi Brahma mana upasveti. Mind itself is Brahma, means meditate on mind itself as Brahma. Before we utter speech, before we think, or before we say, it is there in the mind. So just focus your attention on the mind and meditate on the mind itself as Brahma. Then we will understand the secret of the mind and we will gain free movement within the range of the mind. Narada asked the teacher, is there something greater than the mind? And the teacher said, yes, Sankalpa is greater than the mind. Sankalpa is the decision which we take Shankaracharya ji writes, कि संकल्पो वाव मनसो भूयान संकल्पो अपि मनस्य मनसि मनस्यनवत् अंतःकरण वृत्तिः कर्तव्य अकर्तव्य विषय विभागेन समर्थनम. Sankalpa is also one vritti of the mind, the decision. For example, when we decide to speak, then we speak. Though the name is there in our mind, but we will not utter till that decision happens, till that sankalpa happens. Somebody asks a question in general, and you are also present there, and you know the answer. The answer comes into your mind, but you don't speak. You just keep it in the mind. That sankalpa to speak out doesn't come, so you just keep it in the mind itself. When the sankalpa comes, then only you speak. So sankalpa is subtler than the mind. Sankalpa motivates the mind. Mind then motivates the speech and the nam is uttered. So sankalpa is something subtler. That decision is subtler than nam, than the mind. Therefore, sankalpa is given a lot of importance in our shastra. Our whole transformation of our personality also happens when we take the right Sankalpa, when we take the Shubha Sankalpa. Even while doing puja and all, we have to take Sankalpa. Why we are doing this puja? Shraddha, Bhakti, Jnana, Vairagya Praptyartham. Sakala Mangala Siddhyarthancha. Aham Shri Ganesha Pujam Karishe. Like that we take Sankalpa. So Sankalpa is subtler than the mind. Even when we have to walk this path, we have to take that Sankalpa. Then only we will be able to walk. So Sankalpa also arises in the mind. Therefore, in our life, the good Sankalpa when it arises is very, very considered very auspicious. Tanme manas Shiva Sankalpamastu. We should pray to Bhagwan also that may I have auspicious Sankalpa. Because that is the beginning. From there, then our mind will get activated, our speech will get activated, the Naam will be uttered, mantras will be understood, proper actions will be performed, proper result will be gained. All this originates from Sankalpa. In Bhagavad Gita also Bhagwan tells, he says the difference between a good person and bad person is the Sankalpa. Api chet suduracharah bhajate mam ananya bhak sadhureva samantavyah samyak vyavasito hi saha. Bhagwan says that even if a person is durachari, a very bad person who had led a very bad life, but if he takes a strong sankalpa that I will give up all my negativities and follow the path of goodness, follow the path of dharma, if he takes a strong sankalpa, Bhagwan says you can consider that person as a sadhu, a good person. Don't go and see his past, but look at him now and consider that person as a sadhu. Sadhureva samantavyaha samyak vyavasito hi saha. So that is the sankalpa, the power of sankalpa. So the teacher tells Naradji, you meditate on this sankalpa as Brahma. And one who meditates on sankalpa as Brahma, he attains free movement within the range of that sankalpa. Thereafter, Naradji asked the teacher, is there anything subtler, superior, greater than sankalpa? The teacher says yes. So Naradji requests the teacher to please teach him that which is subtler than sankalpa. So the teacher said, Chittam vava sankalpat bhuyaha. Chitta, an ability to understand the situation which is presented in front of us. Shankaracharya writes, Chittam chetayitritvam prapta kala anurupa bodhayatvam अतीतानागत विषय प्रयोजन निरूपण सामर्थ्यम Prapta Kala Anurupa Bodhayatvam. Prapta Kal, the situation which is presented in front of us, outwardly, inwardly, one has to understand it instantly. And based on that understanding, Sankalpa will happen. We will take that Sankalpa. Narad had met Valmiki also. Valmiki was a very negative person before. His name was Ratnakar. He was like a thief. He used to loot people, the travelers. So he wanted to loot Naradji also, who happened to travel, who happened to be there. So Naradji told him that what you are doing is not proper. It is adharma. It is papa. He said, I am just doing it for my family. This is my livelihood. I am doing for my family. Naradji says that if you are doing something wrong, you will suffer, you will get the result. He said, our family will share my result. He says, no. If you have done papa, you will have to suffer. You will get the consequences of your karma. So Valmiki ji, when he heard all this, which Naradji told him, suddenly became aware of the whole situation. And he understood what he is doing is not proper. And then, at that moment, that awareness, through that awareness, he took a sankalpa that I will give up all this and follow the path of goodness. And with the guidance of Naradji, he took a sankalpa of just chanting Bhagwan's name. And so strong sankalpa that he just sat there and started chanting Ram, 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 Ram. That ants, they built a hill around him, but he was not aware of that. Just by that sankalpa itself, he became a great sadhu. He became enlightened. He wrote the Charitra of Bhagwan Sri Ram. So the Chitta, awareness of the situation which is presented in front of us, makes us take sankalpa. See, when we do satsang and all, we come to understand the situation. Otherwise, we live as though hypnotized, as though asleep, unaware, totally tamasic. But when we become aware that where am I, who am I, what is this whole world around me, what am I doing, when I become totally aware of the situation presented in front of me, makes me take proper sankalpa. So that awareness of the presented situation around is called Chitta. So Chitta is superior to Sankalpa. So meditate on Chitta, understand this Chitta properly. So the teacher told Narada, you meditate on Chitta as Brahma. Then Narada asked, is there anything superior to Chitta? The teacher says, yes. Dhyanam vava chittat bhuyaha. Dhyan is superior to Chitta. Dhyan is attention. Dhyana is to pay attention. Become intensely aware. Focus all your attention. Don't flow with the thoughts. Don't flow with the activities around. Stop for a moment. Just pay attention to everything inside, outside. That is the dhyana. Dhyayati iva prithvi, dhyayati iva antariksham, dhyayati iva dhyauho, dhyayanti iva apaha. The teacher says, if you look around, you will find that everything in nature also as though are meditating. Like the mountain, just stationary, is as though meditating, is as though just established in its own nature. So similarly, when we bring meditation in our life, if we have that meditative attitude, deep sense of awareness and attention, ability to pay attention within and without, see, attention is different from thinking, different from activities. We spend a lot of time without even being aware, and life just goes by. Life just goes by. But when we utilize this ability which is there within of dhyana and become intensely aware of our inside as well as outside, then that deep sense of attention, that dhyana, activates our ability to be aware and to recognize and understand the situation which is presented in front of us. And that will make us take the right Sankalpa. So the Dhyana is superior, is much subtler than Chitta. It's a very, very deep level within us. Many people live in this world without even understanding this level. So Dhyanam vava chittat bhuyaha. Dhyana is subtler than Chitta. So meditate on Dhyana itself as Brahma. Meditate on attention. Dhyana is like attention, awareness, not focus, but general attention. Being intensely in the present moment. See, when we go in the past or in the future, we are flowing with the thoughts. Thoughts make us move in the past. Past is something which is not there. It is just a thought in our mind. Yesterday, day before yesterday, what is it? It is just a thought. There is no such thing called yesterday. It is just a thought in the mind now, just a memory. And what is future? Future is just what you project from your memory only. What is really present is what is present now. And to be able to recognize and pay attention to that now itself is the crux of Dhyana. So Dhyana is very subtle. And depending on our Dhyana, our Sankalpa, etc. will be there. See, there are people who live in this world without that Dhyana. Their life also becomes very superficial, meaningless. But one who has reached this level of Dhyana gains some subtlety in his life. So Dhyanam Brahma iti upaste yavat dhyanasya gatam tatra asya yatha kamacharo bhavati. So one who meditates on Dhyana as Brahma gains free movement within the range of that Dhyana. So Dhyana, then through Dhyana only that Chitta gets activated. Then Chitta activates Sankalpa. Sankalpa motivates the mind. Mind motivates the speech. And speech utters the Nama. So through Nama, we have to reach the subtler and subtler level. So the teacher tells, we have reached now till Dhyana. And further level we will see in our class on Wednesday. It's just a summary. All this we have done in detail. Now we will just summarize the whole thing and try to understand the whole thing. We can, like a bird's eye view, different perspective. One is to go into minute detail about everything, but we have to also we should also have the ability to look at the whole thing from a different perspective. So more about this we will see in our class on Wednesday. Till then, you take care. Be happy, safe, peaceful, healthy. Do your work, do your sadhana. Listen to the pravachan again. Contemplate, meditate. And we meet again on Wednesday. Hari Om. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. 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 Jaya Jaya Ram. जय जय राम। बोलिए सिया रामचंद्र भगवान की जय। ओम पूर्णमद पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम।